is amazing to me. Garrett Bolles will have made over $150 million playing in the NFL.
Wow. How about that?
How about that? What a story.
Yeah, it really is. The way he started his career, obviously it wasn't very good, and he's been solid. He really has, and we've talked a lot about Bolles and a possible extension, and we were looking at about a 3 or 4 year deal with a couple years guaranteed and give this team a little flexibility heading into the offseason where left tackle doesn't have to be at the top of your priority list. I think it's a great signing for the Broncos. Bolles, he's not going to be an all-pro this year, but you'd hate to go into the offseason with a huge question mark at left tackle. So now you can go into the offseason and say, all right, in the draft, we're freed up to hopefully help Bo Nix out and take a receiver, tight end, running back, something like that. And you don't have left tackle at the top of the to-do list.
Would you say he's, a top 15 tackle?
Sure.
Top 10?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Mark that. I mean, he's the one that studies, offensive linemen. Just ask him. He'll let you know that he studies a lot. So I'm not studying left tackle. So I don't know who Cincinnati Bengals and Jacksonville Jags left tackle are. But, yeah, I mean, I think that contract shows you the importance of that position and where he's at. He probably could have got more money if he waited another month. But he loves being here, and it's a really good contract. I think it's a good contract for Bolles, and it's a good contract for the Broncos.
I am amazed. When you consider how this all started. And let's face it, nobody liked him. Everybody wanted to move on from him. Mark would just eviscerate his play. As somebody who knows the offensive line, as somebody who looks at a lot of tape, just ask him. But for him to turn his career around in a setting where right from the start he did not make a good impression.
Holding offense, number 72.
And even today, even understanding that he has become a much better player, like there was a game a couple weeks ago where he had 2 penalties in a row. One was a holding penalty, then was another illegal formation, which negated a play for the Broncos because it ended up being offsetting penalties. And I am just grinding my teeth, argh! But we've had less and less of that over the years, and in the middle of it, it's been replaced by just really good, solid play. And I'm with you, Stoke, because that's the kind of position that if you don't lock him up, now not only do you have to make a tackle a priority going into the draft, you almost have to make it the priority, because if you're going to get a left tackle that you can feel comfortable with guarding Bo Nix's blind side, you pretty much have to invest a first-round pick in it.
Yes, and what I really like, too, is the Broncos needed a left tackle in a big way when they did draft Bolles. I mean, we all knew they were going to draft a left tackle, and that's what they had to do. And you don't want to be in that situation this year. So I think what it does also is if you really like a tackle in the draft, guess what? You can still take one. I would prefer it not to be in the first round, but you can never have too many good offensive linemen. But I'm looking at third, fourth rounder. If you have a tackle there that you really like, that you think is going to develop and be a starter for you, and now you have a replacement for McGlinchey or Bolles in a couple years if you turn the page on that. So I think it just gives you a lot of flexibility in the draft where you still can take a tackle if you want to. A developmental guy a little bit later, but also you can be more aggressive to put some pieces around Bo Nix at the skill position and not have to make that left tackle a priority.
And the best thing that you can give a young quarterback, stability on the offensive line. And now with this move, you've got Garrett Bolles signed up for 4 more years, Ben Powers for 2 more years, Quinn Miners for 4 more years, and Mike McGlinchey for 3 more years. Your center's still kind of a work in progress right now, but
seems like he's been doing fine.
You got Forsythe, you got Wattenberg.
Yeah, I think it's been mostly
Wattenberg. Yeah,
yes.
and he's been solid too. Yeah. So, and you're also learning, I think, a lot over these last 2 years about how Sean wants to build a football team, what he really believes in. And you could tell he's a Parcells disciple. Because Parcells was always build from the inside out. Inside out. Make sure you're strong along both lines. And look at the priority that has been placed along both lines since Sean got here, both along the offensive line with the signing of Powers, McGlinchey, the extensions for Miners, Bolles. Look at what they've done along the defensive line, bringing in Zach Allen, John Franklin Myers, Malcolm Roach. So you're seeing how he believes in building a football team. And I can't – who can really argue with the idea of building strong from the inside out?
Yeah, especially with a quarterback you're trying to develop, a young quarterback. I mean, two of his biggest signings when he got here, first thing in free agency was Ben Powers, left guard, and right tackle Mike McGlinchey. So to your point, Mike, yeah, I mean, it's a high priority for him. It's a high priority usually for a lot of teams. But you have to be able to also draft and develop, and they've done that with Bolles. They did that with Quinn Miners. So they've got some nice pieces moving forward to have that consistency and continuity on the offensive line.
And it allows you to not have to reach now when it comes to offensive linemen here moving forward over the next couple of years. You can be smart where you draft guys and take the time to develop guys so that when these contracts run out, you've got ready-made, plug-and-play young players that you have drafted and developed and built up through your own system.
Yeah, Broncos are in a good position, and that was one of the things that we talked about when we were mentioning the possibility of locking down Garrett Bolles and getting this thing done during the season. So I think it's a win-win here. Again, good contract for Bolles. He's making a lot of money. He gets to stay here, a place that he loves. Just ask him. I mean, he raves about the Denver Broncos and loves playing for the Denver Broncos, and so I think it's a friendlier type of deal. You weren't going to find a better left tackle in free agency. And like you said, it just frees you up in the draft and free agency to be able to do some other things.
On this Is It Just Me Friday, this one came in on the RamosLaw.com text line. Is it just me? This is from Stu of Loveland. Is it just me, or do the Broncos need to sign Stokley to go play slot receiver for us? P.S. I grew up a huge Colts fan and always wanted to be Stoke.
I'm still daddy.
Hey,
appreciate you.
Look at that.
Well, since I got on the treadmill for the first time in about 5, 8, 10 years, last week I'd probably say I'm not. My better days are behind me.
Maybe you need to add a little bit more about your treadmill experience. How long did it last?
I was trying to get it 5 minutes, and I made 4. I didn't want to push too hard the first time, Mike. It's been about 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Let's ease into this.
I'll get back on it in a couple weeks, and then we'll every 3 or 4 weeks.
It's a process. It's a process. Canadian bacon. What's trending? Coming your way next.